Doug Rice, along with Brad Gillie and Kyle Petty here on Fast Talk. My mother lived to be 96. She was very wise, and she always used to say, if you want to get something done, find a busy person to do it. It took me a long time to figure out what she meant, but now I know. So that's part of the reason that we've got Matt Kaulig, NASCAR team owner, joining us today, because he's a busy guy. He has a lot going on. He not only owns a NASCAR Xfinity Series team and Cup Series team, he stars in his own TV commercials. And he does all of these things very well. Matt, thank you for making some time to be with us today.
Well, it's good to be here, guys. Had a great weekend down. Actually, went down to the Masters in Augusta. So I'm wearing my Masters green leaf filter Kaulig Racing shirt today, and so it's good to be here and talking racing.
Have you ever played golf with Kyle when he has worn his knickers?
I have not. I'd love to see that, though.
Oh, it's a sight. It's a sight. I can tell you that.
Well, Matt, coming off of the Martinsville race, what do you think you learned up there on both the Xfinity and the Cup side? And then we'll get into some particulars.
Whew, man. Well, we had some pretty good runs in talking about Friday night, the Xfinity race. AJ, Landon Castle got his best career finished, finishing second. So that's great. And then AJ Allmendinger wins $100,000 in the Dash for Cash and finishes third. So, that was great. Those are great takeaways. It's always good when I think what I've learned is even already this part of the season, it's important to get points. I mean, when you're racing for points and trying to get the playoffs with the goal of having all three of the Xfinity cars in the playoffs, it's like you gotta get finishes and you've got to get points. So I think we had a really good points day for all three cars. Cup race was rough, man. It was rough. That was a long race, and we struggled a little bit. And so we're glad that one's over, and we get to go dirt racing next weekend.
Brad Gillie?
Yeah, I think dirt racing is going to be a lot of fun for sure. And going back to Martinsville, it was rough. And you guys certainly started out with a little bit of a handicap, at least when it came to AJ's car, because he had to do that pass-through penalty. But, Matt, how could you not think about potentially what could have been? I mean, considering the fact that, AJ went 2 laps down and he stayed there, and he actually passed a lot of cars who had zero problems in the race whatsoever. That's got to say at least something about the performance of the team, that you guys were there. You just had that struggle early on.
Yeah, you have struggles early on. It's hard to get out of the hole, especially when there's basically no cautions. I mean, the race doesn't stop. The guys that are out front, catch you quick. So no, we're learning. We knew this whole getting into Cup full time for the first season is just going to be a learning process with all of our guys, all the whole team, the drivers, the crew chiefs. I mean, just how everything works. I can tell you one thing, the difference that I've seen, the biggest difference that I've seen or experienced is between the Xfinity and the Cup races is how long these Cup races are. These things are pretty long and fun. But we're having fun so far, and we're certainly happy with how we performed and how things have been rolling. So we're having fun.
Okay, I got 2 things here. First, I played a music festival in Keenanville, which is down the eastern part of the state, and I'm walking around, and there's barbecue places everywhere, and there's booths, and this guy says, "Hey, you need leaf filters. You need it now." And he starts trying to sell me on this, and the girl says, "That's Kyle Petty." And he said, "I don't care who it is. He needs this on his house." And I said, "You are a good man, and I'm going to tell Matt that."
Are you getting it on your house?
Listen, I bought a house that already had it on it. How about that? That's the way so you didn't get a sale with me yet. I will say that. I just bought the whole house. I bought the whole house to get leaf filters. How about that?
Good.
I was saying, I could do your commercial. I bought a whole house just to get leaf filters. All right, so here's my
leaf filter. Yeah.
Here's my question. Man. This year, in the past, you guys have run the Xfinity and some Cup races. This year, your Cup and Xfinity. How tough? These are 2 parallel programs that have nothing in common anymore. How tough is it to run 2 separate series like this? In the past, at least the tire info was the same. A lot of stuff was the same. Driver feedback was the same from the cockpit. But it's so different now. How hard have these first few races been?
Well, they've been a good learning experience. I mean, I think I've just got positive reviews for the team and how the whole team has really transitioned into running Sundays. I mean, I shouldn't say for all intents and purposes, we do have 5 teams. We have 3 Xfinity full-time teams and 2 Cup full-time teams. I mean, that's 5. I mean, you're talking about 5 haulers. You're talking about 5 of everything, which that's been an interesting transition, just getting everything going. But, just moved into a new race shop that we've got. So now we've got 2 race shops there in Welcome, North Carolina. And, I just think it's been a struggle as everybody knows with parts and cars and we've wrecked a few cars early, which puts a lot more pressure on the team. But no, it's been great. Really proud of the team, all the men and women at Kaulig Racing for even making this transition. And we know we're going to have some good races, and then we're going to have some struggles. We darn near won the race, a couple of weeks ago, and then we struggled to keep up this past week. So we know we're going to have ups and downs. I think we went into this season really. And I was talking about it that way, and I don't even know if it's the right way to talk about it or if it's positive or negative, but we talked about we just don't have expectations for the season. Our expectations for our very first full-time Cup season is just to learn and learn a lot. We still want to win championships and everything else in the Xfinity series, so we feel real strong about our cars, and we know what we've got there, but we just weren't sure about how this whole new car was going to go and how we were going to run. So, I mean, Justin Haley's still an up and comer and learning fast, but he's only 22 years old. So we know we want to grow with him, and he wants to grow with us. And so, we'll see what happens. We've got some more road courses coming up with AJ in the car. And so it should be fun. It should be a fun summer.
Our guest is Matt Kaulig, NASCAR team owner. I'll echo what Kyle said. I've had your product leaf filter on my house for years, and it is second to none. So there you go. That is an unpaid endorsement, folks. So maybe I'll be able to go up in the Kaulig trailer at the next race and get a Snickers or something. Yeah. Who knows?
Let's do it.
Anyway, I did have a question to ask, and this really came to light last year when Kaulig was performing so well on the Xfinity circuit. A lot of talk about your team about culture, Matt, and the kind of culture that you built, that it was all for one and one for all, and it seems to have fallen over onto the Cup side too, that there's a sense of camaraderie. In business and with this team, how do you get there, and what's your belief in winning culture?
It's just it is about a culture, and you have to teach it all the time, even before. So I started Leaf Filter back in 2005. So what are we, 17 years or so in, and always believed in it. I mean, NASCAR is all about what I say is logoing up. I mean, you got logos everywhere all the time, but you'll rarely see me even walking around town or walking around the office or anything without a Leaf Filter logo and Leaf Filter shirt. I think it builds teamwork. We've done a really good job of taking a product like Leaf Filter, a gutter screen product. I mean, these are 5-foot panels. We clean out gutters and put gutter screens on. I don't know how excited people get about that. It's not like running NASCAR races, but you try to make it as exciting as you can. And I think we've done a good job of that. We've got 130 locations now in the U.S. and Canada have just exploded that business. It's just been a tremendous situation. But even going back to your question about how do you build a winning culture, and how do you build teamwork? You team build. You get everybody together. It almost reminds me of when now we didn't do this last week or 2 weeks ago because Ross Chastain isn't with us anymore. But a couple of years ago we were 1, 2, 3 at Daytona, first, second, third. AJ's in front, Ross Chastain's behind him, and Justin Haley's behind him. And Ross decides that he wants to win the race and moves AJ out of the way, wrecks them both. But thank God Justin Haley was there, and so he won. But and so what we did that week is I took all 3 drivers down to our boat, and we sat for a couple of days and talked about teamwork and camaraderie, and just wanted to make sure that didn't become a situation. Apparently it's still a situation, but it's so I don't know how well that worked, but it did work because we're still cool with Ross. But in building the organization and everybody else, we've really done a great job of transitioning to Cup and doing it the right way and talking about business. I didn't grow Leaf Filter just overnight. And I did it on purpose and started opening 3 or 4 offices a year, as opposed to opening 30, a year. Cause it's like the last thing you want to do is grow too fast. And I've seen people already, I've been in the sport now 7 years. This is our 7th season, and just seeing the kind of mistakes that people have made or learned from other people's mistakes that I've even learned from in the past in NASCAR is that, you just grow too fast. You're not ready, and you just get in there before you're ready. And that's why we did what we did last year, is just got into it a little bit, had a part-time car that ran 8 or 9 races. We were fortunate enough to win Indy and win one of those races. And it just gave us a good start to being able to get the charters, being used to even you guys seeing us in the garage and knowing who we are, and, transitioning the drivers from Xfinity to Cup. It's been great. I mean, Justin Haley's very familiar with everybody in the shop. We don't have really anybody coming in. Noah, well, Daniel's new. Daniel just came to us this year, but he's such a great guy and such a great competitor, and an easy guy to get into the culture. And that's one of the reasons we were able to bring Daniel over. We're very aware of what somebody, or what bad people, bad teammates, can actually do to an organization. And so we work hard on doing that. And so I'm very proud of that, actually, of that winning culture. But we also talk about that trophy hunting and the culture of winning. And we're not doing this for our health. We're trying to win, and we're trying to compete, and it has to be fun. And, it seems like and that's really, guys, one of the reasons I started a race team is to be able to maybe control some of that. If you're just a sponsor and you're just, you're not in control of how you're spending money and where you're spending money and what kind of drivers and everything else you have. So, I feel like we're in control. Chris Rice has done just an amazing job. I mean, you can see, you guys know him well, and can see his spirit and his leadership and how happy he is and how motivating he is and how good he is. And so I think when you just have people like Chris Rice running the organization, you see what happens. It's contagious.
What a novel thought, being in control of spending money. I've been married to the same woman for 43 years. I don't know what that means. Matt, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck the rest of the season, both Xfinity and Cup side.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Matt Kaulig, NASCAR team owner.